RC Underground Radio is your go-to podcast for everything RC.
Do you guys realize how much it costs to be friends with this dude?
Whether you're a dedicated racer or just getting started in the hobby, this is your show. Each episode features top-notch guests, industry leaders, and you, the racer. It's a community where listeners can learn, connect, and grow their passion for RC racing. So, grab your transmitter, buckle up, and join us on RC Underground Radio.
Say words.
Here are your hosts, Dave Brinkman and TJ Greer.
All right, it's time for another week of RC Underground Radio. No guests this week. We're kind of the guests. We're going to catch up with each other of what TJ's been up to. He's been racing. I've been visiting tracks, doing some RC Roadshow stuff, which was super fun. So, you know, this is what the fans have asked for, DJ. They just like us sometimes to just catch up, talk RC racing from our perspective. So that's what we're going to give them. But this is a little bit of a holiday version of RC Underground Radio. So, you know, we got to do something in the spirit of Thanksgiving. So I've come up with some questions for you for quick time.
I'll take them.
So that'll be super fun. So let's start out with what you've been doing. You've been doing some racing. I've seen you online. Some podiums, but also some number one. So give us the background.
So I wrapped up my outdoor season with the last couple races at Raw RC Speedway in Elwood, Indiana. So newer track. They've only been around for this season. They started building last fall and went through the winter season and then opened up spring season, and they've done well. But went there, finished off fall brawl there. Podiumed a couple cars, had some bad luck in SE mod, some electronical issues that I figured out. So we're on the right track now. So no more SE mod issues. So maintenance, guys, maintenance to your program, to podium, to win. So if you're not maintaining your cars, you're probably not going to win. So FYI.
And track time like that, right? Like track time. So going to that, taking that time, even though it was in a, maybe classified a big race, you learned a lot and you found something that's been holding you back. Now you got that fixed. That's going to make you super excited.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was, I've been in talk with Kevin Abbott with Exalt, about the issues that we're having. And it's not an ongoing issue, but it's just one of those anomalies. I'm like, man, I just can't figure this out. I'm trying all angles. I'm trying different batteries for us and, different things, but figured it out, so I've eliminated the issue. We can go back to it's not the batteries, it's another issue, but neither here nor there. Works on one car, doesn't work on another. So ended up going to Brick House, doing a couple indoor races there, did a veterans program there, which was always a really fun race to do because Sean takes that money and donates it to a program for veterans. So really cool race to be able to give back. I always enjoy racing that one. Turned around and last weekend went up to RC Fun Park where Tony Lidgard from Backyard is doing some indoor racing. Not something he usually does, but helping this track out. And usually it's a indoor off-road, but they have outdoor oval, which they haven't used for years, and then an outdoor off-road, which I'm not really sure if they use a ton, but so they basically just take some piping, move it around, and have this big, huge, high bite, characteristic track is the best way to explain it. It's rough around some corners, around some edges, and then it's smooth, So, I mean, grip for days. Like I went out there on a brand new set of DE Phenoms, and I'm probably 50% tread right now on all cars. So, but it was fun. You get into the corner, you can just throw that thing around, you'll traction roll. But the line was weird. You had to have a consistent line on the backstretch. Otherwise you'd hit these bumps, and man, when you hit these bumps going fast, it just sends you all the way to the edge of the track and you're out for a Sunday cruise trying to get back on it. But, I ended up getting some podiums there. So that was fun. All three cars, but wasn't really a big show. But yeah, just doing some testing on some things, trying some new things on some cars, and been trying some new parts for Cheaters Inc. So I've been testing some of those things, and they are working. So shout out to those guys.
Nice. Yeah, great to see it performing so well. I mean, we always know that's going to happen. But yeah, to go to various tracks like that and do well and compete, that's super cool. Also, very great to see Tony promoting because that guy's one of the best. And I know it's in his heart. And got a little burned out from last season. And but to see him right back on the horse again, going, you know what, this is my passion. This is what I like to do. I like to run races.
And he's not doing it for himself. I mean, we'll say he is, but it's not even at his track. Well, that's
what I'm saying. Yeah, to go to somebody else's track, that means he's got the passion to promote and to organize. And that's what this hobby desperately needs, is people that like and want to do that, because it has to be organized or, it's just not going to work out. So it's good to see him kind of getting his sea legs again, getting out there doing what he's doing, but then doing it at other tracks. That's really cool.
And the other tracks that, are in the area, they're all supporting it. So there's a couple of the tracks that had donated to sponsor some classes, so they're actively involved in it. They want to see it grow. We did a little research. Excuse me. Taylor Bainey and I, we went out to dinner afterwards, and he's the part owner of Cheaters Inc. And we were just running through some numbers, just looking, in comparison to off-road to oval numbers, just at that one specific track. That just for the amount of drivers we had, like I said, it wasn't a big show by any means. It wasn't. I kind of went in there with no expectation, didn't really know what to think. Really didn't know I was going to go race where I was going to race until, hours before I went to bed. So I was still searching for a place to go where I could run 2 or more classes, and that was it. Everywhere else I'd only be able to run 1. But anyways, went out to eat afterwards, and we're just comparing numbers, and they hadn't seen that many entries in an off-road race at that track since 23. Right. We just looked at it, and just one of those things. They had mentioned if, they had more oval entries, then maybe they'd smooth the track out a little bit. They would take a little bit more care into it and, level it out and make it more of a smooth oval for us. So we were just curious to see, they had only had 2 races there, or 3 races. Sorry. They had 1 day of practice, which was like an open practice all day. Then they ran just a random club race, so to speak. And then I showed up at this one, which was a trophy race, which I didn't even know it was. So showed up, and here we go. We're racing and find out it's a trophy race. I had no idea, but yeah, we did pretty decent numbers for the first time being there, and in comparison to what they do for the off-road. So maybe we keep that interest going up there, then they'll take a little bit more care into it.
So as you go to those different tracks, so you said at least 3 or 4 tracks that you mentioned, do you see a lot of the same guys? Do other people kind of travel around, or is it a whole different group?
Oh yeah. Like we have probably, we have a group chat. I know for SE Mod, we like to try and group ourselves together and kind of be able to make that class continue. But yeah, a lot of the same guys I race with, around all these tracks, you'll run into 5, 6, 7, 10 guys that pretty regularly. And every once in a while you find a new guy that shows up, and some guys you don't know, and some guys that don't know me, which is cool, So it's interesting to talk to the new ones or see the different faces of people and see them try and compete in these classes. Because racing this weekend, there's a lot of names I didn't know. Guys from Northern Indiana I've never raced with before. So it's just exciting to see different faces, different names joining in. Maybe their first time and they're stepping up into a bigger style class, which is it's fun. That's what we need. So sometimes I did hear this weekend. A couple guys they didn't know if they were going to race, and I said, there's no reason you shouldn't race. They're running some spec classes, and I was like, I don't run spec, so not for me, but there's no reason you guys shouldn't put a car on a track. So encourage them all to run no matter what.
Right. So I saw, some of those pictures as you talk about that. I saw some of the guys that were on the podium with you. They were younger drivers. I love to see that. Any young guns that you're going, wow, I'm gonna have to watch out for this kid coming up. He gets a little bit more, and he's gonna be tough.
That young gun you're talking about, that's Sandon Booker. So his dad is the one that runs Brickhouse RC Raceway. So he's been racing, probably since he was 4 or 5. He's been a killer this entire time. So he's had a lot of growth. I've seen that kid go through phases of his racing, and absolutely dominate, and the one thing I think he's probably done the most in this last, probably, I'd say this last year, is his driving etiquette. So it's not that he was never a bad driver. It's not that he was ever a poor driver. He's always been a phenomenal driver. But he's learned how to drive people how he's been driven. So when I say Sandon Booker is an amazing driver, he gets it, he did something this weekend, and I didn't even catch on to it, So I think Sandon may have been probably 2 laps ahead of me in Outlaw Late Model. And we had a young lady that stepped up, was like, "Hey, I'm going to run my 13.5 in with you guys." And we were like, "Go for it." So then another guy jumped in and he was like, "Hey, you mind if I just hop in this main with you?" I was like, "No, man, hop in. I'm not going to say no." And so we're racing. It's a good race for second place. And Sandon gets a lap ahead of me. I give it to him. I'm not going to hold him up. Go on, boy. Make your laps, And so he's going through racing, and then third place guy breaks. So he hits a wall, breaks something in the A-arm. He pulls off, and we're close to the end. Now, at this time, Sandon and I are laps ahead of third place, which means we're double the laps ahead of fourth place. So Sandon stops before he's, 2 laps or a lap or 2 before he finishes, and it clicks that we call her Runt needed to get her laps ahead of Bill, who would have placed third with the race with a finish. He would have been third, not even finishing the race, but because he knew, and that's how cognizant he is of the race. Me, I wasn't. I was just clicking down laps, and all of a sudden I see him stop, and I'm thinking, he lipoed, or his battery, he thermaled something, And so I'm just clicking away laps, and then all of a sudden he just picks up and goes, and he looks at him, and somebody says, carry him over the loop, and he's like, no, just leave me. He was making sure that she got a podium finish. Regardless of what he did, he wanted to make sure she was going to get that podium no matter what.
That's a class act.
But I mean, the kid knew what to do. I'm 36 years old, and I didn't even think of that. You know what I mean? Because I was so in tune with my race. You know what I mean? But I've heard a lot of people say, his driving's different. It's sometimes he drives you rough, sometimes he drives through you. It happens. I can be the first to say I've been taken out by Sandon, and tears in his eyes. And it was actually at Raw, and he apologized, and he was really upset. He podiumed. I didn't. I finished fourth. We had a really good race. Took me out with the last couple laps. Destroyed the car, which it's fixable, neither here nor there. It's an accident. It wasn't malicious. He didn't do it on purpose, but he actively cared enough. It bothered him, so he had a moment on the stand. I gave him a hug. I was like, "Kid, love you, man. Don't take it personal. I can fix this car. I'm not mad at you. Go get your podium, bud." But he cared, and you could tell, because he's trying to make himself better to where that reputation isn't, hey, he's just a 10-year-old kid and doesn't care, doesn't know how to drive. He does, right. But his aggressive driving that he's done in the last couple of years, where he's became a top tier driver, in my opinion, for his age, he was learned that way. He was taught that way. He was driven that way.
Right.
So, a lot of these people that may say, hey, you can't drive that way, or you shouldn't drive that way, or you can't do that. He learned that somewhere. So I would say some of these fast guys are credited to that. If you're going to drive like that and you're going to teach the young ones to drive like that, you can't be mad when they drive you like that.
That's one thing that's so cool, so cool about this hobby is you are racing, you are competing, they're side by side. Sure, nobody's really going to get hurt, maybe a corner marshal if you run into them, but like even go-karting, right? Like you can go on a go-karting weekend and there'll be 5-year-olds out there racing, and there's going to be 35-year-olds racing, but they're never going to race together. So a 5-year-old's on the track is trying to learn from a 5-year-old. And hopefully where that talent or that racecraft comes is from the parents that are trying to mentor and tutor them. And RC you could have the exact situation that you just said. You got a 10-year-old racing a 36-year-old, right? And something happened. But what really happened was a life experience beyond RC racing. He could take that into other parts of his life because he showed empathy, he showed he cares, and he is trying to create at 10 years old his racecraft. That is going to pay dividends for him all the way down the line, especially in his RC hobby, right? Because he's trying to gain the respect of his peers. And how do you do that? You race with them side by side. That's what makes RC unique. I can't think of anything else where you can really do that at 10 years old and 36 years old, right? And like you said, you hugged it out. You gave him a hug. You said, I care about you. I love you. I can fix my car. All those little things, all those dots connect, Sounds like a great young man. Exactly what this hobby needs. You guys are fortunate that you have him with you and that you can all kind of put your arms around him and mentor him because he's going to be something. He already sounds like he's something, but man, can you imagine in 3, 4, 5 years what he's going to be doing? Now, does he go to Chili Bowl or anything like that?
He actually was a feature winner at Chili Bowl. Was it last year? I believe it was. Maybe the year before. It was last year. I don't remember, but he was a Chili Bowl feature winner. I believe it was in his street stock. I could be wrong, but I might find that photo and post it up here and give him a little something. But I will tell you this, Sandon, we talk on the stand. So like we'll purposely stand next to each other, and we'll watch each other's cars while we're driving. And that sounds insane, but I could tell him, hey, Sandon, open up your entry, give yourself a little bit of corner speed. You're losing it, diving in. And, her say, man, my car's just not what it is. I don't know what's going on. And we can chat while we drive at the same time. But he's a good kid, man. He's awesome.
So I only have one question for you then. How come we don't have him on the guest list? This sounds like a young man that we need to show and
I'll preface it. I kind of talked to him a little bit about it. Was like, hey, man, let's get you on the show. He's like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be on the show, And I was like, yeah, because I actually tried to get him at Crown Jewel to come over and, sit in the booth. He's like, I don't know. I was like, man, I'll ask all the questions. It'll just be me and you, man. I don't know. So,
right.
He's still a kid. It probably makes him super nervous, which he's more nervous to be on a recorded show than he is to hop in front of, 800 racers and race against them, so he's got his comfort zone.
Well, maybe he just maybe he just needs a little confidence that there's people out there that want to learn and hear his story and hear him.
I'm just going to mic him up. Maybe I just need to do that. And I just do we go live and mic him up and get some footage and see what he does. Cause he's suns out, tongues out when he's racing.
Yeah. Well, I say RCU Nation, step up. Let this young man know that you want to hear from him. Put it in the show notes, put it in, reach out to us on Facebook. Let's show him some RCU love, right? Let's show him that we need to learn more. We need to know more about him. So that's our challenge out to the nation. Just and then we'll get him on the show, and we'll make him comfortable. We'll make him giggle. We'll make him laugh.
We'll get him going.
So he'll be comfortable. And if he wants Dad to come with him,
yeah, absolutely.
Totally get it. That's awesome. So some of the stuff I've been doing, not too much racing, but that's going to change on Saturday. I got a full menu of racing. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago. This is going to about how, it's all nice to run one class or maybe run 2 classes. Yeah, I think I'm running like 4 classes. Holy cow. We're going to see. So we created out here in Wisconsin. We got 3 track owners, myself, Bud Riedner from 608 Raceway, and then the fine folks at On Track. We did a 6 race, 2 at each track, 1 RC based series. It's going great. There's been the only repeat winner has been Easton Riedner in the asphalt modifieds. Other than that, it's been all different winners, all the way down to our sportsman class, which has been super fun to watch. We talk about young drivers and how they develop. That's been super fun. So this is going to be already the 3rd race. We're already going to be halfway through this deal, and that's coming up at 608 in Stoughton. I'll have some info that you'll see here. Great track, carpet track. It's the biggest track on this tour that we have. It's fast.
How fast is fast? What's a lap time?
I would say, it's 6:08. I'll flash it up on the screen because I'll have to do a little research, but I'll put up on the screen with the various ones. But because there's actually 2 tracks in one, and we'll run both tracks. So we run most of the 1RC cars, like the late models, the asphalt late models, and the sportsman classes. Those will all be on the smaller oval. So let's call that the quarter mile, just for reference. But then there's like a half mile. And we run the asphalt modifieds on the big track with a 10 kV motor. They get flying. They're like a 10 scale car. That's how fast they're getting going. So, and then obviously the quarter mile is a little tighter turns, a little bit of braking involved. So, that's your lesser time. And again, I don't know exactly, but I will show it on the screen. So that's going to be fun. I think we're running the bigger cars too, like SR10s. I've got an SR10. So I think that class is running too. So I'll be in that. So that's the plan. I do SR10. I'm going to do the asphalt modified. I'll be in the dirt late model, and I'll also be in a asphalt late model, that's my favorite class.
So I'm exclusively on dirt oval, right? So I don't run carpet usually. But how much do you have to change those cars to go from track to track? Is it a ton?
Well, going on our tour, it kind of is. And the reason is because it's varied surfaces and it's varied track sizes. So, like say for you, you're kind of, and tell me if I'm wrong, you're kind of going from either, loose dirt to tight dirt, right? Whereas we're going from foam to carpet to brand new foam. Huge difference. Like at the RCU, at the underground, at my track, that's been down for 3 years. That track is seasoned. You can pretty well figure out what's going to happen throughout the day. It's going to be loose as a goose, and by feature time, you could be traction rolling. It just there's just phases. When we just went to on track, that was like the first big race on that track with them switching from carpet to foam. And so it took everybody a while. A lot of spring changes, a lot of ESC, doing a lot with the ESC, taking power out. Obviously, they ran the A-mods there with the 10 kVs motors in them. Well, then they just started tuning them down a little bit. We had some people that chose not to run lipos. They just ran old-fashioned NiCad. Took a little bit of the top speed off the car, and they could come off the corners a little quicker. So there's all kinds of things that's what makes the 1RC car so great, is they really react the same way like a real race car would. Spring changes make a big difference. Tires, what you do to tires, whether you sand them, you prep them, and you're going to do different things throughout the day. So just like the bigger cars, like what you race, there's just a lot of different adjustments. There's camber, there's caster adjustments in those cars. You're going to find out if we get you down here for April for the Foam Nationals. I think you're going to be impressed with how many actual adjustments and changes and spring rates and just one little change to a spring rate and boom, the car comes alive or it goes out to lunch. So. Yeah, there is quite a bit. I've been this 608, I think, enough times that I've kind of got a good baseline that I can almost set on all the cars. Because the dirt late model and the asphalt late model chassis are basically the same. There's just a different configuration within the chassis on how you mount the body. And the tires are completely different. Like the asphalt late model tires are dimpled tires. I know you guys run those. And then the dirt late models are groove tires. So big difference there. That's why I love the asphalt late model, because they really handle. I mean, you pretty much out of the box, they're running great. And I took one of my asphalt late models and converted it to a truck. But what we're doing in this series, just for car count and not to have just 2 cars or 4 cars in class, is asphalt, whatever tires you're running, that's kind of the class, right? So The dirt late models are the only ones with the groove tires. All the dirt late models run together, and you have to run a dirt late model body, fully dirt late model themed. In the asphalt dimpled tire class, you can run a car or a truck. I think I'm gonna choose to run the truck because it ran really good at On Track. I actually bumped my way up all the way into the A main, and I think I was fourth in the A main. That was a packed show because, like I said, you could run cars and trucks. There was like 4 trucks, and then there was like 11 or 12 cars. So it was a decent group. And then, you can only run 4 or 5 cars at a time because of the track size. So, you're all the way back in a D, trying to, make your way all the way up through the alphabet soup to get into A. So that was super fun. It was just to make that final 5. I was really proud because I don't race a lot. I really don't. I have so much else going on with owning the track and doing the road shows and doing this and all that I don't get to race as much. So when I race, I like to really race. Yeah, but I think I got myself in a big pot of soup for
good.
For
you
Saturday.
should. You need to.
Yeah. I'm driving with George Murray, and he said he's driving, and he knows why, because I'm probably going to be pretty whooped at the end of the day. And he's going to be my designated Uber driver, taking me back. But George is doing great. He's actually, him and Bud Reedner are tied in the dirt late model, which is the premier class of the whole deal. We have championship trophies for every class, but at the individual races, there's a trophy. The trophy class is the dirt late models. It's how it all started. It's always the biggest class. We kind of set that as a rule that, like, whatever class of the day has the most entries is who's going to run for a trophy. And it's just consistently been far more dirt late models than anyway, because that's what we all started with, right? So we all kept our dirt late models and then added this and added this and added this. So everybody shows up with a dirt late model and races all these other classes as well. So it's been super exciting. It's so fun to put something together like this with a bunch of people. But I got to be honest, the one class that I'm just really enjoying, and again, it's just because I like to see the hobby, this, flourish and have a future. Any form of racing, they're always saying, what about the future? So we, Bud developed this sportsman class, and they have to run the NICADs. Everything else in the car, though, when they're comfortable and they've got the speed and they want to, they can jump into any other class. That class too, you can run a dirt late model, you can run an asphalt late model, you can run a truck, you can run whatever you want. Closed wheel, we don't run open wheel with fendered cars, but and that's for the kids. It's basically kind of your first or maybe your second year racing. No established racers can be in that, and that has been super fun. It's actually prompted me. I did a single posting on it, and there'll be more of them. And I want you to keep your eye out on racers, but we're just basically calling it the RC Next or RC NXT, however you want to call it, and that's focused on the future of the hobby. And we're just picking out some racers that, and they don't even have to win. We're not looking for winners. We're looking for racers, right? You mentioned that young gentleman. That could be somebody we have an eye on, and that kind of description. Somebody who's trying to, who just loves this hobby and is breathing it in and trying to get better, trying to develop the racecraft, trying to be respectful and gain respect. All these different things. And we actually have a contract. There's a contract that they'll have to sign, and it's got some simple principles to it. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to represent a brand. We're a brand, and we want to be represented. That's cool. I mean, if a young man like that, takes you out in a race and things happen, but he cared. He cared that he did that.
Yeah, you could just tell, man. It was
that's what we're looking for.
His emotion showed. He was, he was excited. He got a podium, but when you win like Sandon does, he wins a lot. But throughout that entire race, at the end, you could tell he was more worried about how I felt, and it's going to be okay. We can fix these cars. You know what I mean? Right. Now, you're a grown man that takes me out. and you don't say sorry, it's a different story. You know, he's a kid. He's trying. He didn't have to say sorry. His total emotion showed it, you know.
Folks, are you looking to gain a 10th on the racetrack or maybe get a few ladies like Taylor Swift in your pit stall? Well, I'm sorry to say that Carpies can't work miracles in those departments. But here's the good news. The folks at Carpies can definitely help you become the ultimate toy car nerd, just like me. How, you ask? Well, with their custom wraps and killer collection of official RC branded merch. So while they can't promise to shave a 10th off your lap time, they can save you 10% on your next order with promo code RCU10 upon checkout at carpies.com, CARPYS.com. Wrapping winners since 2013.
Papa Willie's Traction Tonic has been curing poor traction since 2016. The name says it all. If you're not popping wheelies, it's not Papa Willie's. Papa Willie's has become known across the United States on dirt oval to off-road, asphalt to concrete, carpet to hardwood, and so many other surfaces. Papa Willie's continues adding to their lineup with tonics for cold and hot weather, loose dirt to high traction, dry dirt, wet dirt, clay and abrasive surfaces, along with anti-drag bearing oil, tire cleaner, tire glue, pit accessories, and swag. You can find the complete Papa Willie's catalog at www.papawillies.net. Prepare for victory with Papa Willie's Traction Tonic.
Be sure to use promo code RCUR for 10% off your next purchase at Papa Willie's.
So you've had the opportunity to put some people on the line with QuickTime, right? Well, this time we're going to kind of turn it around a little bit, and down the road, I'm all fair. You can do QuickTime to me down the road. You have to change some of those questions because some of them you tell I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about. I just pick one, so you're gonna have to tweak them. But I thought, hey, next week's Thanksgiving, so we're gonna have a little bit of a holiday flavor. So I created some QuickTime questions that are Thanksgiving.
Oh gosh,
themed.
here we go.
So
Yeah.
are you ready? Are you ready
Yep.
for the challenge? All right. All right, here we go. The Thanksgiving edition of QuickTime. As soon as you answer the first one, I will start the clock. Are you ready? Your turkey, roasted or deep fried? Mashed potatoes or stuffing?
Stuffing.
Travel to someone's house or host it? Football or old races on YouTube?
Football.
Thanksgiving parade or sleep in?
Sleep in.
Cranberries or sweet potatoes?
Sweet potatoes.
Green bean casserole or yams?
Green bean casserole.
I don't even know what a yam is, but okay. Dark meat or white meat? Stay late and talk. Leave early to go work on your RC
I'll stay
cars.
late.
Best memories came from the adult table or at the kids' table?
Adult.
At what age did you move from the kids' table to the adults' table?
When I was no longer living in my parents' house.
You carved a turkey or watch it be carved?
I'm asked to carve it.
After dinner movie, comedy or chick flick?
Comedy.
Apple pie or pumpkin pie? And 15, Thanksgiving means blank to me.
I'll say it again.
Thanksgiving means blank.
Family get-togethers.
There you go. Very nice. So see, folks, he's always ready. He's going to be ready for any question you're going to ask him about Chili Bowl. When we come to this time of the year, buddy, it's Thanksgiving and it's what you're thankful for. So we're thankful that people tune into this crazy, silly RC show. We try to have a lot of fun. We try to bring some good information. But the fans bring a lot of good information too. And I can say one of the things I'm really thankful for is you made the commitment to come and do this with me. because you bring a lot to the show, buddy. You brought a lot to the show. We're still double fingers crossed that we're going to get Ryan to come jump on with us. Hopefully things are kind of loosening up a little bit. He's doing the big end of the season push at work. They're starting to have some fantastic results. So maybe some time can free up. Hopefully maybe around here. And I'd love to see a holiday edition, and I know the fans would love to see Ryan with us. So hopefully that'll come up. But again, buddy, we're so glad that you're with us. You brought a fresh new perspective to what we're doing, and that's just to talk about the hobby, grow the hobby, and keep people interested in it.
I think the good news, the easy part for me was I'm not afraid to be behind a microphone. I've got a past life that kind of let me do that in that tour poster right there. But and so I got one hell of a face for radio. So I guess that got that working for me. So yeah, I'm excited to be a part of it. It's fun. The guys at the track, man, I hear feedback all the time. They want to hear about tires. They want to hear about this. I'm like, I can find an angle to get it in. It's hard to say, hey, this episode, we're just going to talk tires, tutorials are out there. This isn't a tutorial, but I mean, we can get stuff to it, but so I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to represent all the brands. I'm thankful for, Carpy's taking the lead, being our premier host. And
so we hope you enjoy this one. But most of all, enjoy time with your families. Take that time, right? Race cars are important, and I know you want to do time, but really set the controller down, set the car down for at least a day or so. Spend time with your family, and just let them know how thankful and appreciative you are. All right, everybody, have a great time. Again, thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to the RC Underground Radio Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your fellow racers about the show. Tune in again next week for more RC content.